and then try and upload it again. I think it's all right.
Just coming up to 12, isn't it? So a very good, I'm not sure whether it's morning or afternoon. I'm not sure whether it's just clicked round to midday, but I think it is now. So a very good afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep the doors open for a minute or two before we kick off. We are expecting a good number in today, and we just need to give them time to come on in. But while you're waiting, folks, perhaps you'd like to scan the QR code that's on the screen, or visit slido.com and then type in today's code, hashtag LM100323. That's the reference for today. And there's a bit of a survey there. I'm going to ask you some questions about G4C, Generation for Change, which of course is the Constructing Excellence Young Professionals Group. So just while we're waiting for the others to come in, if you would go to that slido.com reference, either via the QR code or via hashtag LM100323, that would be appreciated. Answer the questions if you would, and then after the presentation we're going to go through those answers before we go into Q&A with Mitchell and with Holly. Hope everyone is well. Hope there's not too much snow around where you are, making sure that you can't do what you want to do, but we're all used to working from home now anyway, aren't we? So no real hardship there. I don't know whether any of you have been at Future Build this week. I've been in London all week for Future Build. That was quite an interesting week. I think people are getting used to getting out there again, meeting face to face at things like exhibitions and workshops and conferences, which is good for all of us. I think from a well-being point of view, it was certainly good for my well-being to be down in London for 3 days. People coming in all the time, so a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to our monthly webinar with Leaders Meets, and all the people around the screen that you can see. Constructing Excellence in the Midlands I represent, but you can see the whole family of CE regions are there. Also the Structural Timber Association and the CIOB support what we're doing, and I can't believe it, but it's 3 years almost to the day now that we started these webinars. We started in lockdown 2020, and here we are 3 years on, still doing regular webinars, albeit monthly now rather than weekly. So I think we ought to make a start, because for those of you that are here, I think it's appropriate. So officially now, a very good afternoon to you all. Welcome to our monthly webinar brought to you by Constructing Excellence, Structural Timber Association and the CIOB. On the screen now you will see the request that you fill in the survey, either by going to that QR code or by going to slido.com hashtag LM100323. We would ask you please to fill in those questions, and then at the end of the presentation I'll go through the answers with Mitchell and with Holly. I have to say I'm delighted today that the topic we've chosen is G4C, or Generation for Change. This is a very successful group across the length and breadth of the UK that is run under the Constructing Excellence umbrella. It is for young professionals. It's originally set up for those of 35 and under, but we have sort of broadened the church. We used to say in the first 5 years of their career. I see now, Holly and Mitchell, you've extended that to 10. So yeah, that's news on me. I must put that new figure into what I say, because I've been saying either 35 and under or the first 5 years of your career. But the basis is, what we're doing is we're providing a vehicle for young professionals or new professionals to the industry to come together and learn and share knowledge, and give old folk like me information on what they need to push the sector to the next level. And after all, these are people that are the future leaders for the construction industry. I think my hope for G4C is that we get a culture, a network of young people who work together in the various strands of the supply chain. So when they get through to being those future leaders, they don't have to go through the SH1T that me and many of my counterparts have had to go through. So I hope I've done enough talking now to allow more people to enter the room. I think I probably have. I'm going now to hand over to you, Mitchell, and you, Holly, and I'm going to mute myself, put the camera off, and I'll be back to ask some questions a bit later. Thank you very much, everyone.
No bother. Thank you for everyone who's joined. I'll just quickly share my screen. And I think the first thing to do is probably introduce ourselves, Holly. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, Sam Holly Statham. I'm a design manager at Beaumont and Kirkland. Been working at Beaumont and Kirkland nearly 5 years now. After finishing uni, I did architecture at University of Liverpool and then joined contractor side straight from uni, and I'm currently co-chair with Mitch for G4C North East.
Thanks, Holly. My name's Mitchell Galloway. I'm a senior project manager at Faithful and Gould. I've been there for about 9 months now. Prior to that, I was client side project manager for Newcastle City Council, and it was there for 10 years. So I started off as an apprentice in architecture, did a stint doing a QS degree, and then moved into project management. So a little bit more of a rounded approach. So today we're just going to kind of go and talk a little bit about what G4C is, what the North East team and committee does, and a little bit more about some of the interesting things that we've managed to get involved with in innovation tools to basically enhance young professionals' voices in the North East. So the first bit really is just to talk a little bit about what G4C is. So it's the young professionals' voice of the UK built environment. It's obviously a place where we can connect, challenge, and help shape the future of the industry. And I think we've done a really good job on that in the past sort of 2-3 years, coming out of COVID and working through COVID to try and enhance the experience that young professionals get within the industry. Holly, do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so just following on from what Mitch said there, G4C obviously is national. There's a lot of committees kind of spread out all throughout the country. Us in the North East, we have the North East Committee, which is kind of anywhere from Newcastle to I'd say Durham way, and then we've got the Tees Valley Committee, which is all of Teesside, Middlesbrough, Hartlepool, etc. So we do have quite a large committee that's doing a lot of work in the northeast of England. And as you can see there, the people that we've currently got on the committee, it's multidisciplinary. So there's people from all different disciplines, all different backgrounds, different university courses, Plan B, apprenticeships. And yeah, it's kind of getting that well-rounded group of people together, but like-minded people that want to kind of work together to help push the industry forward. We are looking to hopefully get more people from the trades involved with G4C as well, going forward, because historically it has been quite consultant heavy, but we do have a lot more from contractor, and we are speaking to a lot more students and trades going forward.
So one of the things that myself and Holly saw as a real opportunity to connect young professionals was by using a social media interface. And we've established a good platform now on LinkedIn, Instagram, and we'll put the information on the in the chat. But what we thought was a really good way of introducing the committee was a day in the life of each committee member, and this was something that was really give us great exposure to the rest of the industry and showed exactly what each different committee member did, whether that be site management, quantity surveying, project management, or kind of more of the technical surveying side. We were starting to have a little bit of a dabble in what the world of TikTok would mean and how we can try and enhance sort of the coverage which we have in the Northeast in the various other platforms, and that's something that we've really sort of got behind in the last sort of 12 months.
Yeah, I think on the social media stuff, obviously, in terms of pushing the industry forward, there's a lot of the younger generation now, you know, that they do want to be YouTubers, TikTokers. That's, you know, they want to be social media influencers, and it's something that we, as the, I suppose, younger generation of the industry, are looking to try, and there's no reason why we can't be construction influencers and hopefully influence people in their careers, as well as, you know, fashion brands and things like that. So that's kind of the aim and the push behind that. So we've got on screen here is One Voice. So in the northeast of England's construction strategy, we looked at a campaign called the One Voice, which is still very much ongoing, where we look at key themes such as people, so people and skills, getting people into the industry, retaining the people that we do have, celebrating the people that we do have, upskilling, all that type of stuff. Value looks into yes, procurement, but, you know, project value, and you know, value over cost and all that type of stuff. Social value, and how we're kind of building better buildings for our communities and things like that. Climate obviously looks at the climate emergency, sustainable building, all that type of stuff. And then we've got the additional arm of innovation, obviously looking at future processes, future products, and just how we can kind of be more innovative as an industry, that we do sometimes fall a bit behind. The One Voice strategy is very much linked up with Constructing Excellence's key theme groups, which us at G4C all link into. So on our committee, we've got people that sit on all the Constructing Excellence theme groups, which look to tackle a lot of the points outlined in the One Voice strategy. So it is very much kind of still an ongoing campaign. That said, it's kind of aligned more with the Constructing Excellence theme groups now, which I'm sure people are aware of.
One of the great things that was took out of COVID was an opportunity to create a new sort of program using a virtual dual mentoring scheme. Myself and Holly both took part in this in the first wave, and what it basically allows is for young professionals to align themselves with senior professionals across the industry from different disciplines, and really start to challenge some of the thoughts and the thinking that it might not be possible within the workplace environment. So for instance, I did mine with Tim Bailey from Excite Architecture, who's the lead, he's the head of practice. And what was a really good conversation, many times we'd do a visit to either one of my projects or one of his projects, or go for a coffee and really start to drill down into the nitty-gritty detail of what I should be doing to progress my career, what was good, and what made me be attracted to the construction industry, so that Tim got an insight into what young professionals were after in terms of an environment and a workplace. And just try and bounce ideas of each other to try and enhance both the workplace thinking and how we can better each other's sort of career progression. So obviously, as I said, it was multidisciplinary in terms of the program. So we try and align people with different leads. And as it says on the slide, there's been 3 successful cohorts with we've just received applications for the 4th wave of the program, and I think it's something that we've been speaking with Lydia about on a national scale, trying to roll this out in all of the regions within, so G4C taking the lead because of the advantages that we saw up in the northeast.
Yeah, so the dual mentoring, it came out of back in when COVID hit, and in 2020, basically G4C National set up they set a task for each G4C committee or regional area to come up with a G4C project, and out of that we set up the virtual mentoring. Obviously since then now we don't have to have everything virtually, and because it's been so successful, it has, I suppose, been renamed dual mentoring, and it's a, you know, whoever signs up and you get partnered with someone not necessarily from the same discipline as you, they can act as more of a sounding board. So it's not like you're speaking to someone that you might potentially work with in the industry. It's someone that you probably wouldn't normally be working with, and it's that opportunity to grow your own personal development and have that person as a sounding board, as well as growing your own business network and building your confidence and finding out what else is going on in the industry. So it has been really successful over the last 3 ones that we've rolled out. And yeah, as Mitch said, obviously we'll be passing the information on to those nationally. So hopefully that this can be rolled out in other regions as well.
So in terms of one of the key aspects of the G4C committee is the opportunity to go and have site visits in some of the most prestigious projects in the region, and we continually do this generally on a monthly basis. So the one that you can see on the screen, Bankhouse, Holly personally was involved in the design management of the creation of Bankhouse, and actually that's the first phase of, I think, there's another 3 phases coming forward. It's a large area in Newcastle on Pilgrim Street, which is probably going to see the best part of £500 million invested within that stretch, that development quarter across the over the next 5 to 10 years. We've done a visit to Home Group's new headquarters, which is opposite St James's Park in Newcastle, Pattern Shop, which was the old Robert Stevenson engine shed, and Newcastle Helix, which is an exemplar for sustainable urban development, 24-acre site in the heart of Newcastle, with a mixed use, both residential, educational and commercial buildings. And that's a partnership between Legal & General, Newcastle City Council and Newcastle University. So we do try and give the committee and our members that are involved with G4C an opportunity to come and see various different developments across the region. And we've got a pipeline of site visits to try and go and visit in the coming months.
So as well as our site visits, another kind of advantage of being part of G4C, whether you're on the committee or you know, just signed up to our email so you can see what events we've got going on, we do a lot of social events. We do every 3rd Wednesday of the month we host a pool social at a place called Lane 7 in Newcastle, which is like a bowling alley, and they have pool tables. They have, what's the other one they have?
Like a cricket
table
net,
tennis tables and
tables.
yeah, all that type of stuff. So that's always really well attended, and it's we don't like to label it as networking because we do feel that might put people off. Our industry is very good for putting on events, and you could probably go to an event every night if you wanted to. So we do kind of like to label this as more of an opportunity to kind of let off some steam midweek, have a drink, don't have a drink, play some pool, don't play some pool, but there's people there from the industry to chat to. And it's always really well attended, and we've now linked up with the Tees Valley Committee, and we are doing them bi-monthly, as in we'll have 1 month it'll be in Newcastle, the following month it'll be in Durham. So it means we're kind of spreading further afield and getting more people involved, which is great. We always put on like an annual summer barbecue, which this year we had at Tyne Bar and Ousburn, which again, I think we had about 85, 90 people attend. Had, you know, there was food on, drinks. It was a great opportunity to meet some people, and it's always really good. And then the Tees Valley Committee had a summer soiree, which was a riverboat cruise through Durham again, which was a really good event. And we kind of want these events so that people that are part of G4C or not can see it as a, you know, they're building friendships as well as building, you know, business connections. So that's kind of the whole point around these. We did a Christmas quiz at Banyan in Newcastle, which again, I think had maybe 80 people, 100 people there, which was really good fun, really well attended. And yeah, it's something, our socials are something that are definitely, I suppose before COVID were very, very popular. After COVID, it did take a while to get things going again, but I think people are now at a point where they're really, really well attended and people are really enjoying those and getting to meet people face to face. So they're definitely something that come as a benefit of being involved with G4C.
So one of the big sort of tasks that myself and Holly took on when we started running the co-chairship was the professional body interface, and we've been really lucky in the fact that we've created some good contacts with the likes of CIBSE and CIOB and SICA and RICS to try and get the chairs for their regional young professionals forum involved within G4C, just to try and create that interconnectivity across the whole of the built environment sector. It also helps with sponsorship. It also helps with trying to increase the amount of footfall at your CPD, your social events. And we've saw, especially in the Northeast, this be a real boost for us. And actually the exposure that it gives other organisations to get involved with G4C, and the hope that other organisations that the young people work for will get involved with Constructing Excellence. So it's a much wider piece about trying to enhance membership and connectivity across the region.
Yes, so obviously another thing that we kind of do, and what we do often try and link with those other groups, so that we're not, you know, reinventing the wheel or doubling up, is obviously our CPD events. We've held some really successful ones over the past couple of years. We held a panel discussion on material supply and cost crisis following COVID-19, which was really good, and we had kind of we had suppliers there, manufacturers there, contractors, consultants, and we kind of got a bit of an insight from all. And it was a really good panel discussion, and people got a lot out of it. And if anything, it just got people talking about kind of the gripes that people are seeing and how we can work better together. We also held a development networking. So a few years back, we held an event in Newcastle where basically young professionals could come, and it was almost a speed dating type of setup, and they got an opportunity to speak to people in quite senior positions from the Northeast construction industry. And we held a similar event, but we labelled it development networking, which again was really well attended, and people got 5 to 10 minutes to kind of speak with people that probably wouldn't normally have an opportunity to speak to, find out what projects are going on in the region. You know, it wasn't an opportunity for people to, you know, poach good people from other businesses. It was more an opportunity to, you know, speak about what's upcoming, find, you know, a bit of a more of a mentoring, I suppose, ask a couple of questions about their career. And that was a really well attended event. We'll definitely be looking to put that on again, because we've already had people saying that they would like us to redo that one. We've done a couple of charity type of things. So we've done, like, we did a May walking challenge where everyone on the committee tried to walk, I think it was 100 miles in the month, to raise money for charity. And we're always up for doing things like that. So, you know, if anyone wants to link up with us at G4C, we're more than happy to get involved. And then obviously this year going forward, we're really making a push on CPDs. So if there's anything that people would like to see, we're always open to ideas. You know, we don't want to put on a webinar for webinar's sake. We'd like to put on things that people are interested in and want to know more about. So yeah, CPDs are something that, you know, we're looking to push this year.
So as well as the CPD side of it, we also do a lot of educational engagement, and this is where we kind of go into colleges, universities, and work with either primary schools or secondary schools as well, to try and enhance the learning experience and get people involved with the idea of working in construction. We've done an engagement, or we continually engage with Gated College on their Plan B program, which is actually an established platform of where it's like an apprenticeship sort of link, where you've got set individuals who go and do placements around 5 or 6 different companies with varied backgrounds, so mechanical engineering, architecture, contractors, and get a sort of a little bit of an insight in every part of the industry before getting offered possibly a full-time placement. We've done college workshops with Hartlepool College, going and doing sort of taster days and give them an idea into what various different people in the committee do. I went into King's School and did a presentation to primary school kids on what the opportunities are in construction, and it's not just about hard hat and muddy boots. There's obviously just a whole raft of opportunities within the sector that probably at that age you wouldn't see. And we do work with the local universities in Northumbria and Newcastle to try and create opportunities and do taster days and workplace sort of placements for some graduates. I think, yeah, so it's very much it's the engagement piece that G4C lead on, and that ties in with Construction Excellence's vision of the people engagement side and increasing skills and opportunities.
So another initiative we've been running in the Northeast is a job shadowing opportunity. So one of our committee members set up this initiative, and it was where we got students from colleges and local universities, and basically they shadowed at different companies from our committee over the course of a week. So the one just gone was sort of the pilot scheme, and the students spent a day at TNT, day at Bowman Kirkland, day at Identity Consultant, a day at Gleeds. So it was just one student per discipline, and then they rotate round, and it was really well received. We got some amazing feedback, and it's something that we're going to be running again probably twice this year coming, on 2 separate weeks, because the uptake's been quite good. But it was a really good opportunity for those students and, you know, those people that are keen to find out more about the industry, on what the different roles are, and get a bit of experience before they, you know, come out of university or finish college and haven't had that exposure to, you know, what project life actually is like, or what it is like working in consultants and all that type of stuff. So it was really good, and it's a really good opportunity for them. And we really enjoyed it as well, because it was really nice to see those kind of keen students who are, you know, they're wanting to do it, and they're wanting to have that exposure before they start applying for jobs. So that's something that we'll be running again this year.
And finally, so one of the big ticket items that we run every year is the G4C Awards in the Northeast, which is joint between the Northeast and Tees Valley committees, and obviously is a showcase of the talent that we've got in the region. There's 7 different categories which people across the region apply for. It's a really well attended event. We normally get about 350 people coming to the awards. And really demonstrates the amazing talent that we have within the region, within the built environment sector, and that's showcased by having Student of the Year, Future Leader of the Year, sort of the companies that support engagement and employment the most. So there's a raft of awards up for grabs, and we have the G4C Awards 2023 next month. I think it's the 17th. I may have got the date wrong, but I think it is next month. And obviously it's the big sort of the big showcase every year for G4C. So yeah, Holly, is there anything?
I don't think so. Obviously, the G4C Awards are open to, you know, it's not just people from the committee that apply, it's people from all across the industry. you know, to really showcase the talent that we've got in the Northeast. It's always a really, really great night. And I know obviously there's other regions across the country will host their own G4C awards. But we are really proud in the Northeast of the kind of people that we've got here, and yeah, we're looking forward to the awards in April this year.
Brilliant. So thanks for joining. Andrew, if I just hand back to yourself, I think we're going to go through the Slido questions.
Yeah, thanks very much. If you could stop sharing your screen in that case. Thank you very much. Truly inspiring presentation. And I hope that we're mirror imaging what you're doing to some degree in the Midlands. We're a little bit behind you in terms of timing, but I think we're catching up. And I'm sure other parts of CE are also doing likewise. So have you stopped sharing the screen?
Yeah.
Right, because I've got a rather strange picture on mine then. Can you see me, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can't see the screen. Abraham, can you put up your survey so that I can read it? Very strange.
It's up already. Can anyone see it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see it.
I can as well.
Okay, I don't know what's happened to mine then. Mine's gone completely blank. I've just got a white screen. Let me see what I can do. Howard, are you there? Howard?
Yep, I'm here. Yep.
All I've got is a white screen. I can't see anything.
All right.
I don't know why. I wonder if you could just take the guys and gals through
Sure, no
the
problem.
survey. Would you mind?
No, not at all. No problem at all.
I'll work on it back here, see what's going on.
Okay, so let's hope that everyone can see what I can see. If you can't, please let us know. But have you heard about G4C? Simple answers, yes or no. So let's have the answers. 95% of the room has. So that's really good. So it's around in the bazaars. Any comments you'd like to make, either of you, please?
I think that's a positive answer.
Exactly, yeah.
How do you get to the 5%? I think is the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have the next question, please, Abraham. Do you know who is involved with G4C? Do you know anyone who is involved? So 68% say yes, 32% say no. So I suppose, is that a surprise to either of you?
I think my comment on that would be that G4C, you don't have to be involved in a committee to be involved within G4C. The amount of activities and events that G4C promotes, they generally are free or a very small donation. And for those that aren't involved, I would suggest trying to get in touch with your regional sort of chair and just see if there's any way of linking in. I mean, we've got a newsletter and a website that we kind of direct people to, and use the social media platforms to try and distribute as much information as possible. So for anyone that isn't involved or you don't know enough about it, either get in touch with myself or Holly, and we'll point you in the right direction, or just try and link up with your regional chairs.
Okay, I think it does bring up an interesting thought that I've had, and I think I've heard this in the past, that a number of younger people working in the sector don't necessarily have access work-wise to technology to participate during working hours. So that might be an issue.
It's a fair comment.
We do try and host a lot of our events and things after work or maybe sometimes during lunch times and things. So we're trying not to impact on people's workday too much. We are conscious that, you know, we don't want to preach too much to the converted. I know there's a lot of companies that are involved with G4C and Constructing Excellence and are keen for their young professionals to get involved and come along to events. I suppose the challenge is trying to reach out to those who, as you say, might not have access to see when these things are happening, or have the resource to come along. So I think that's the thing that we need to be pushing on.
Yep, great. Okay, let's have the next question then, please, Abraham. Do you know what virtual mentoring is? So 90% said no, only 10% said yes. So
I think on this, because it's been a localized sort of tool that we've used, that's probably what I would expect. What I would like to see is that same question asked in 12 months' time. And hopefully that the answer to yes would be considerably more as we try and roll this out as a national programme. Now that's a bit of a challenge that we're going to have a conversation with the other regional chairs, but I would like to see that figure greatly increase within the next 12 months.
So the strategy, the first aim is the regional chairs. Good, great.
Yeah.
Okay, next question, please. Are you aware of your local G4C community? Just over, well, 2/3 say yes, 1/3 say no. Surprise?
I suppose for those that aren't aware, a lot of the regional sort of committees do have social media platforms. If you're not, if you go on to Google and type in G4C committees, it'll basically give you a link, and there's so for instance the Northeast Mine and Hollies details are on there, and it's the same for all of the other regional chairs. It's a really good touch point, so just try and get in touch with whoever you can and see if there's any way that you can get involved. Like you say, there's a lot of benefits in terms of the social side, the networking side, the learning environment that can be created by being involved with G4C.
Super, thanks. I think we've got one more question. Have we, Abraham? Or is that it?
No, that's it. Just one.
That's it? Okay,
I'm
thanks.
back in play now, Howard, and I can see the screen. I had to leave and come back in. So thank you.
Okay, I'll leave it to you. I'll leave it to you now then. I'll disappear.
Okay. Thank you very much. So Abraham, hopefully we've had some questions, have we, to put to our young G4C members? If not, I've got one of my own.
No.
We've got no questions from the floor. Oh, that's disappointing. Folks, come on. We've got 2 young people in our webinar who are eagerly awaiting questions from you. While we wait for people to put those questions then into slido.com, I've got one for you, Holly and Mitchell, and this is maybe some advice. We, as I said earlier, we're slightly behind you in terms of G4C in the Midlands. We've had a fantastic year, 2022, under Nikita at RLB, and we're holding monthly breakfast meetings now, where we've been getting full house, 30. We've had to up it to 40 to get everyone in, and we're doing quarterly CPD events as well, which are proving popular. I am worried that they've started doing social events now. That worries me a bit, but anyway, that's an aside. But we've just launched the awards this year, and we haven't had the same success as you in terms of companies prepared to support the awards in terms of sponsoring categories and so on. A bit ironic, because I don't know whether you charge for your G4C events during the year, but we don't. We provide it all free of charge. But these companies who seem happy enough to send their young people along to the networking events throughout the year don't seem prepared to support the awards. I wonder if you had any advice for me, really.
Do you want to have a stab, Holly, or shall I?
You go, Mitch. No.
Right. So I think it's to be honest, it's a little bit short-sighted. I think really, Andrew, for the companies not to support their young professionals in the awards. The way that we've sold it is it's an opportunity to showcase the great work in sort of the young professionals within organisations and get that sort of kudos of winning. Even getting nominated, and we probably, the shortlists generally are between 4 and 6 people per sort of category, and what that does then, that kind of drums it encourages the contractors and consultants and clients to get behind their young people and take tables. And I think Kat and Leanne and Danny and Kate did a great job in trying to kind of bring that forward. But it comes back down to the young professionals as well about selling what a good platform G4C is to be involved in. That's what me and Holly have to do. We have to try and sell this not just for our company to want us involved, but why we want to be involved going forward. And the actual event itself is a really good networking black tie dinner event, with a focus on showcasing the talent in the region. And we have been lucky that it has been so well supported over the years, and it grows every year. I mean, we're looking at bigger and bigger venues, because it does get really busy. We've got some companies that want to take 2 tables, not just one, and we've had to limit it in past years. So yeah, that's probably the way I would try.
We're, obviously, as you know, we're right behind the G4C movement, and we're doing everything we can to support it. I mean, we had 175 different young professionals attend our events last year, so it's not that there's a lack of uptake in terms of people being interested. Of the 6 categories, we had to drop 1 because we didn't get any entries, but of the other 5, I think we've got about 24 entries, so an average of 5 per category, which I don't think is too bad. So we're pleased with that. It's just we were somewhat surprised when I approached the companies who've sent the young people to these events through the last year to ask if they'd kindly sponsor one of the categories. The support has been very low. That was all. So it's just a comment. I wonder if you had any silver bullets for me. I'll have to keep going. But luckily, we've now got a question from the floor. In fact, we've got more than one. So the question for you both: you mentioned G4C has been more consultancy focused, and you want to bring in the trades more. What do you think have been the barriers for these people? What's been the barriers for them preventing them joining you previously?
I think obviously money. We, as you say, like we do put most of our events on for free. Our site visits, our socials, they don't cost to come along. But I suppose it's relaying this information down the supply chain, and opening up those doors for the trades. I think we have had better uptake this year, in kind of more people attending, but I suppose sometimes it might be resource based, people outside work time, etc. But I think, I don't know, I'd say they were the kind of main barriers. The G4C awards, we do have awards for Trade Apprentice of the Year, things like that, so it's that we do probably get the same companies putting people forward, and it's something that we just need to promote through marketing and things like that. But I don't know if there's anything else, Mitch.
I think it's a really hard one, Andrew, to try and bring more trades in, just because of the connectivity that. So if we're working in a consultancy environment or a contracting environment, the access to emails and the social media platforms and stuff is integrated within your work quite a lot. Well, I believe so anyway. Whereas I think if we look at a typical trade background, there's not that connectivity on like online platforms, and that's just something I think we need to probably explore a little bit further in the research of how to get that information out there. Now that might just be as simple as us finding out what the 50 biggest sites are around the region and just putting up posters in the canteen spaces. That actually might work. But
I mean, certainly from my experience, Mitchell, and I've been involved with CE now 25 years. And in terms of getting clients, consultants and contractors to get involved with what we do, it's been relatively easy compared to the supply chain. It's always been the manufacturers and the supply chain that we've been short of in terms of membership, in terms of events and activities, which is a real irony, really, because a lot of the innovation comes from down the supply chain. And we do need that part of the supply chain involved, I think, to take full advantage. But it seems like you're experiencing the same barriers as we have for a number of years. I'm going to move on to the next question, if I may. Abraham, if we could have the next question up, please. Thank you. Attracting young people into the sector is a major challenge. How do you think this challenge can be best addressed? There we go.
I think we've talked about this quite a lot, but I think a lot of the influence in the younger generation, if we're going to start at the bottom, comes from teachers and, you know, careers advisors at schools, and it comes from parents. I think there's still a lot of people I know whose parents, if you ask them, and you mentioned the construction industry, that say bricklayer, plumber, and you know, it's just not the case. If I could go back, although I loved university, I would have definitely done like an apprenticeship route and had that, you know, on-site experience. But I think there's often if you're doing well at school and you're getting high grades, then construction isn't for you, and it's something to fall back on, and that's just not the case. You know, the construction industry is full of some really, really great people, and people that are doing really well, and we need to be pushing that from school level, and opening the doors to what careers there is, you know, whether that's on the kind of trade side or the professional side. I think there's not enough knowledge around the careers that there is, and I think that's probably the starting point. And then equally what we're trying to promote through this, you know, social media and things like that, I think that's how we're really going to start reaching out to people going forward.
Interestingly, we had a very successful Adopt a School campaign in the Southwest for CE until a few years ago when the money ran out. But we were working with 50 schools, 9,000 students. But we arranged one site visit, and we thought it had gone well. But the teacher, when the class left the site, turned to them and said, "And if you don't work hard at school, you'll end up working at places like this." So I think the perception of our industry has got a long way to go, as you mentioned, Holly, in terms of teachers and career advisors and parents and so on. Because the other thing that we found with these 50 schools is that the children didn't realise the huge number of career opportunities. It doesn't have to be on the building site. You know, you need marketeers, you need IT experts, etc., etc. So, okay, let's have the next question, please, Abraham, if we may. Oh, thank you both. There we go. How do you balance your own time between your full-time roles and G4C? Now, that is a good question. And that's something which the wider CE family, if you like, often ask themselves. So that's an interesting one. I look forward to hear from both of you on this.
I think from my side, I do it because I want to. I make time. I've came through an apprenticeship route, and people believed in the benefits that of getting me involved at an early stage in projects and giving me an experience. And I think it's only fair that I give that back. Because I think without people actually trying to get young professionals heard within the built environment and to make it a better place, we're still going to have a skills shortage. We're still going to have gaps. We're still not going to be able to go into schools and sell what a great industry it is to work in if you don't get certain people who give their time and support constructing excellence in G4C and what it believes in. So for me, I suppose I'm very lucky in the fact that Faithful and Gould and Newcastle City Council have given me the time and the ability to do both roles. But it's because I want to do it, and I do see the benefits that it brings, Andrew. And I think that if you work for an organisation that isn't willing to support young people, is that really the place that you want to work? Because that, for me, it's a pretty no-brainer.
Yeah, and I think equally, as Mitch just said there, obviously it's a great thing for businesses to be involved in, and to have their young professionals as part of G4C is great, and it opens up a lot of doors for that company. But also, it's not something that we feel that, oh, your company said you have to go along to G4C because it looks good for them, so you should go along. It's one of them. If you want to do it and you want to build your business network, you want to kind of open some more doors for yourself, that's kind of reason. Same as Mitch, I wanted to get involved, and it was more of a personal thing really, and I'm the same. I've been lucky that Boomer and Kirkland are very supportive of G4C and everything that it stands for, but I do feel like a lot of companies are on board with it, and I think it's just there's probably a lot of young professionals that are worried about asking about, you know, oh, do you mind if I go to that webinar? Do you mind if I go? And I don't think many, I think a lot would be more on board with it now. It's just breaking that barrier, I suppose.
The whole,
sorry.
Andrew, I'll just finish off. So that the whole sort of ethos of having a committee and having companies and personnel apply for these roles on the committee is because you're seen as the next generation, the future leaders of the industry. Now, if your company identifies you as that person and you're on that committee and everyone else on that committee's got exactly the same vision, and you've created a network of people who are possibly going to be the next chief execs, regional managing directors, whatever that may be. Now, that's not, if that doesn't sell being involved within a G4C committee to a business, I don't know what does, because that is what it's about. It's about creating that sort of cross-contamination element of collaboration and thinking outside the box as an industry-wide sort of tool, and not just an individual who's trying to better their career.
It's a great point, Mitchell. If I may say, the one thing that holds the people together that I've met in the CE G4C network is passion. It's passion of people that want to make a difference. It's people that want to change the world. And my experience over the 25 years is that the people that generally get involved with CE and now G4C are certainly not what I call the 9-to-5 merchants. And they are the people that get on. So I can promise you, guys and gals, your career will be a good one if you continue. Wonderful thoughts. Thank you very much, both of you. What's next? Someone apologizes they missed the start due to a meeting running over. But what are the 5 different categories that you had running? This is for the awards, I take it. The 6, actually. We had 5 in the Midlands because one of them we had to drop out. But do you want to just cover the headings, Mitch or Holly?
Let's just find them.
I know, yeah.
That's why I asked you, because I couldn't remember them.
I remember them all off the top of my head.
I know there's student, and I know there's apprentice, and I know there's mentor. There's a starter for 3.
Right, I'm just pulling them up now. Categories. So we've got trade apprentice, trade apprentice of the year, technical apprentice of the year, trainee of the year, new professional of the year, mentor of the year, commitment to employee in training and development, and higher education student of the year, and further education student of the year, and future leader. So actually, I think we've got 8.
You have a few more than the rest then, don't you? Because I think there's 6 on the national curriculum. So
yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're at 8.
Okay, let's move on to the next question, because someone's been brave enough to put their name. So Richard, thank you. Richard and I go back a long way with the CE movement. And until recently, Richard was heading up the health and safety theme group in the Southwest. He's first of all saying, keep up the work, which is good. What are the biggest challenges G4C have in getting the construction industry to engage with and support young people? Who wants to take that one?
I think in terms of challenges in supporting young people is obviously, I think there's still a lot of young people that come into the industry and, you know, want to impress, want to do well, and probably don't realise that being part of G4C will help them with that. I think in terms of, it depends what part of the industry, I suppose, that you work in. But I suppose to work in contractor side, I would say that, you know, it's getting that backing from senior management, getting those, having that mentor, having that someone to speak to, which I think a lot of people join the industry and feel that, you know, they can't ask questions and they have to be expected to know what to do and all that type of stuff. And, you know, I love the saying that there's no such thing as a stupid question. And I think if you're new to the industry and you're sitting in a meeting and you're straight out of uni or whatever, and you've never heard what these people are talking about, there's no reason why you can't ask the question. It shows that you want to know and you're willing to learn. It's not, you know, that you're silly for asking the question. So I definitely think it's maybe it's a confidence thing, that comes with time. I don't know what you think, Mitch.
I wouldn't say. Well, I think the way that the question is, I think that the biggest challenge G4C have in getting construction industry engaged is, I think we've tackled the consultancy and contracting side, but I don't think we've managed to tackle client and the supply chain. And that's just because I think the nature of the work, I think sometimes clients feel as though it's not their place to be there, and I think it very much is, because they actually shape the way in what we build. And as you said before, Andrew, I think the supply chain, maybe just because it's not a primary focus of theirs, maybe it's something that we need to try and adapt and figure out how to try and get them on board a lot more. But I would certainly say that from a consultancy and contracting side, I'm pretty positive that the engagement side of what G4C does is pretty much tackled. I think we've nearly got every regional tier 1 contractor and tier 2 involved in G4C in some way. And I'd say every consultancy practice there've definitely been engagement, whether it be in a CPD or a social, from pretty much every practice in the Northeast.
I know G4C is thriving in Wales and the Southwest and now the Midlands. I'm not sure it's thriving in all parts of the UK, if I'm honest with you. I think it does in Yorkshire and Humber. I think you have a relationship with them, but I don't think it's necessarily the case across the UK. So I think there's a bit of work there for CE to do to spread the word. We've got another question. So I might have missed this, says this person anonymously, but how is G4C linked to the regional CE committee? Do you collaborate together? I'll speak first, if I may, in as much as we have our G4C chair on the CE Midlands board. So that's how we do it in the Midlands, but I'd be interested to hear how you do it in the Northeast.
Exactly that. So we sit on the Construct Excellence board. So we've got myself and Holly take turns attending board meetings, and the same for the Tees Valley Committee. That sits on the board. I would say there's a lot of interaction between myself, Holly, and the Tees Valley Committee, but also with Construct Excellence, and that's why it works well. We have regular catch-ups with the board, and we had an advisory board until recently as well, which we both sat on. So it's a very much an integral part of the delivery model in the Northeast, and that's then filtered down in all of the theme groups as well, which Holly mentioned. We have involvement on all of the theme groups. So it's an integrated model. It's not a G4C and it's very much all one. And that's why I think you get the best of both worlds from having experience and a fresh face and new ideas.
Thank you very much, Mitchell. Thank you, Holly. We've just got a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to ask folks that are in with us this afternoon to kindly go back now to slido.com, hashtag LM100323. Fill out the feedback survey if you would. It does help us plan future webinars. We'd like to hear your thoughts, what you thought of today, what you'd like for the future, and so on and so on. So if you could fill that in, we would be much obliged, either via the slido.com or indeed the QR code. Now the next one is taking place on Friday the 14th of April, and we're going to be looking at air tightness, in particular in timber construction. Air tightness with passive house and so on is growing in terms of it being a priority in what we do and how we build. So we have experts coming along to talk about air tightness and durability, but particularly within the timber sector. As you know, day to day I am working the timber sector. The government have set up a working group, timber in construction, chaired by DEFRA, with an aim to use more timber in construction for the obvious reasons of the embodied carbon credentials. So we're moving down the path of being encouraged to use more timber in construction, and for many people that might mean the first time they've used structural timber. So this hopefully will be of great importance. I'm just now going to thank Abraham and Howard at Leaders Meets for hosting this webinar. And I'm going to thank Holly and Mitchell for giving up of their valuable time to share with us some inspirational stories about G4C. G4C Northeast is certainly the flag bearer for G4C across the UK, but other regions are always doing good things. There are also regions that need to pick up on the mantle. So thank you all for coming. I hope you found the last hour valuable. I'm now going to wish you a very good afternoon and hope you have a great weekend. See you next month. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.